Hey guys, it's Dr. Daniel Sugai, board certified dermatologist. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. We've made it to 5 years on YouTube. So grateful for you all, having so much fun, traveling a lot and going all over Europe, giving talks now on social media, and also going to Dubai later this week to give another talk at a Medical Influencer Academy or Medfluencer Academy session that they'll have in Dubai, specifically Abu Dhabi. So because I've launched my course, the Sugai Academy for healthcare professionals to be online, create an online presence, make incredible educational posts for everyone out there and help drown out the misinformation. So I'm all about that. The course is live. So if you have anyone out there who is a healthcare professional, whether a pharmacist, physician, nurse who wants to get into the social media space, I would recommend that you send them over the link to the Sugai Academy. We can have some fun together and learn together, not just like you watch some videos, some modules, and I say good luck, have fun with it. I do want to make it interactive. I want to be there with you throughout the journey, your social media journey. So we're gonna have some fun there. But today's video is very special because we'll be talking about how to build an anti-aging routine in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. We're gonna try and keep it to a concise style, but we're gonna cover a lot of things. I wanna take a systematic approach to it because I never wanna overcomplicate things. Actually, less is more many times. So let's jump into it. Now, real quick, if you're a teenager or if you're in your early 20s, yes, you're very young. You're pretty much a child in my eyes, but you're very, very young and you do not need any anti-aging serums. You don't need hyaluronic acid, you don't need niacinamide, you don't need exfoliants, and you don't need to use a retinoid unless your dermatologist prescribed it to you for acne. You don't need to get a retinol or retinaldehyde for anti-aging purposes. You don't need vitamin C to brighten your skin. Wait for that later on. Your foundation is going to be a cleanser like Cetaphil Gentle Skin Cleanser or Vanicream's Daily Cleanser, a moisturizer, Cetaphil CeraVe Vanicream, and a sunscreen. Sunscreen being Roche-Posay, Blue Lizard, Vanicream, CeraVe, Moisturizing Lotion. Those are all great things to consider in your teenage years and early adulthood. When you're mid-20s though, at age 25, I always learned in med school, our kidney function decreases at age 25. And I was thinking, oh man, so when I start paying less for a rental car, my kidney function goes down. You know what else goes down? We start to lose collagen at a steady rate after age 25. And if you are going to the tanning booths or you're tanning outdoors, you're gonna accelerate that loss of collagen much faster. And same for smoking. Never smoke tobacco because that's gonna really activate the enzymes to chew up your collagen. So big no-no, tanning and smoking tobacco. In your mid-20s to 30s, this is how you try to tailor your skincare routine. I wanna label this as prevention is power because it's all about trying to prevent that degradation of collagen so that we don't have to deal with as many issues down the road into our 40s, 50s, and 60s, okay? So prevention is power. So of course, sunscreen use is key throughout every decade of our life, but we really wanna try and throw in other things to help rebuild collagen and fight that process of losing collagen. To age is a blessing. I know people criticize dermatologists for using the term anti-aging, but it really is meaning taking control of how we age and aging gracefully, okay? Because we do want to age and progress through life, but we want to slow things down, especially when it comes to fine lines and wrinkles, photo aging, manifesting as red, white, and brown discoloration of the skin. Number one, utmost importance, sunscreen use all year round. If it's summertime and you're getting really sweaty outside, you want to go with a water resistant sunscreen. You know, good options would be CeraVe's Hydrating Sheer Sunscreen for the face and body. Blue Lizard is now at Costco. Let's go. I love that Costco has now finally got a mineral-based sunscreen because a lot of the Costco sunscreens were all chemical-based, which is fine, but they were like banana boat sprays and such. So now they're getting much more of a variety now. And so Blue Lizard's great for my kids, for myself when we go to the pool. Now, if you're in the wintertime when it's not as sunny, I do a moisturizer with SPF, and I did a whole video on moisturizers with SPF. I mentioned CeraVe's SPF 50, Roche-Posay's Toleriane Double Repair UV. You can consider Kiehl's, they have a Melasil moisturizer. That's their Auto Tone. It has this pigment fighting ingredient called Melasil that will prevent the building blocks of melanin from coming together, creating pigment. Kind of a exciting time where we got a lot of nice options. Dermatology UV tinted moisturizer and their matte moisturizer with SPF are great tinted options for those who have hyperpigmentation, want to block visible light from worsening their hyperpigmentation, especially if your skin a color. You want to block visible light as much as possible, and EltaMD UV Daily and UV Clear are really nice options that my patients love, and those are nice things to consider all year round. If you're in your mid-20s and up, then you can start having fun with retinoids. If you're not pregnant, consider a vitamin A derivative cream or serum. You can find it as retinol, which is very, we'll say, not potent but very tolerable. Retinol, I feel like, is a nice happy medium where you get the tolerability plus efficacy. There's a lot of science behind it. And there's retinaldehyde over the counter, which you can find some brands going into, but it's very hard to formulate retinaldehyde. So Maylove has made a Moonlight Night Serum, and then the other one that comes to mind would be Naturium has made a nice retinaldehyde. Those are brands you can consider for retinaldehyde, which is just one conversion step away from retinoic acid, which I prescribe. So you can say that's more potent, less tolerable, but in general, people are tolerating that compound very well. Why do we care about this vitamin A derivative? Is that it helps with fine lines and wrinkles by boosting collagen production. It thickens our skin. A lot of myths going around saying that retinoids will thin out your skin. No, it doesn't. It actually does help increase cell turnover, so you're peeling away the old skin but bringing in new skin, and so it helps with hyperpigmentation in that way as well. Helps with pores. It helps the lining of your pores to stay clear and clean, where it's not shedding so much into the pore itself, that opening into the hair follicle. And when you have clogged pores, you can see it as whiteheads, blackheads, and it can stretch your pore aperture open. And if you're not wearing sunscreen, your pores can definitely get enlarged. So your retinoids will help keep your pores clear and thus help with the appearance of pores. They actually appear smaller when they're clear. A lot of people ask about when do I start vitamin C serums. I'd say maybe late 20s you can start a vitamin C serum. I started in my early 30s. I kind of wish I started in my late 20s, but no, not a biggie if you're in your 30s and you're like, hey, I missed the vitamin C game. No, you didn't. You can still implement it in your 30s, vitamin C, and that would go in the morning routine. Yes, you can use vitamin C twice a day, morning and night, but it can be irritating, especially the ascorbic acid formulation, which there's a lot of studies backing up, is skin brightening effects of binding to copper and inhibiting the enzyme called tyrosinase, which is responsible for making melanin, aka pigment. Vitamin C, lots of options out there. If you have sensitive skin, go for something more towards 10% ascorbic acid. If you have the money, go for 15% ascorbic acid in SkinCeuticals, CE ferulic, Floritin CF, and there's Silymarin CF, which is great for those with acne-prone skin. We all want to look into affordable options, especially in this economy. I've been impressed by Timeless. They have a nice ascorbic acid and vitamin E and ferulic acid formulation that you can get very affordably for like $25. CeraVe makes a 10% ascorbic acid serum that you can consider. I actually like Timeless, their product, better than CeraVe's, but CeraVe's a good start as well, and it's like 25 bucks as well at your local store or online. And Maylove the Glow Maker is very affordable too. It's 30 something bucks, maybe close to 40 now, but that's a good one. That's a nice dupe to the SkinCeuticals CE ferulic. But SkinCeuticals, you're paying for the reputation, the studies backing it up, the science behind SkinCeuticals products. It's been out for a long time and a lot of dermatologists stand by it. Those are nice things you can implement into your late 20s to 30s and continue it to your 40s and 50s and 60s. I usually apply that in the morning after cleansing. You apply your vitamin C serum, then your moisturizer and sunscreen, or your moisturizer with SPF over the vitamin C serum. And at night, use your retinoids. Retinoids you do at bedtime because you don't want to have sunlight hitting your skin when you have the retinoid on your face, because a lot of retinoids are sensitive to UV light and even artificial light. So if you have tretinoin on, a prescription one, it's known to even be sensitive to your indoor lights. So really at bedtime, apply it, go to bed with the lights off, and then it should do its magic. People ask, should I use a niacinamide serum because everyone's talking about it online? I don't like niacinamide serums. I love niacinamide in my products, like the CeraVe Sheer Hydrating Sunscreen that for your face and body. Their AM SPF 50, CeraVe makes a nice one with niacinamide. I like niacinamide in my products. You find your cleansers like Roche-Posay's Toleriane Purifying Foaming Cleanser, and your moisturizers like the Roche-Posay Toleriane, their matte moisturizer, very nice, that has niacinamide. So that's great for skin brightening to some degree, but it's not your main player. It's not going to replace vitamin C. It's not going to replace a prescription retinoid for decreasing dark spots. It can be effective in repairing your skin barrier and reducing sebum production in small amounts when it's mixed into your product. So don't get a niacinamide serum. I'm not into that trend at all. So pretty simple, right? We're in your mid-20s to 30s, you're gonna start noticing that loss of collagen. You're gonna start noticing static wrinkles in your forehead, maybe dynamic wrinkles. You're gonna start seeing more with smile lines, and that's when people really do start looking at Botox in their late 20s to 30s. Totally fine to talk to your dermatologist about that. Now in your 40s, you're gonna see more manifestations of collagen loss of elastic fibers, so you're gonna have less elasticity in your skin, more volume loss, maybe even more dryness, and I start to see people develop acne rosacea. So I have patients coming in their late 30s or 40s being like, I'm too old for acne. But if you're getting acne and redness and flushing in the middle of your face and your skin starts to seem more sensitive, you might want to talk to your dermatologist about acne rosacea, because I start to see it later on then. And then for men, they really start asking about eye serums because the eye bags bother men quite a bit. Whereas women, I feel like, worry about the lower face. They ask about the jowls. As we lose volume in our cheekbones, the skin starts to sag and cause more excess skin to collect here, causing that jowly look. And men start to worry about mid-face volume loss, causing bags under the eyes. That's a very common complaint in my male population in their 40s. So what can you do in your late 30s to 40s like me? You know, I'm in my late 30s. You can incorporate a hyaluronic acid serum for special events to help plump up your skin. This is a very easy way to hide fine lines or wrinkles if you have a big event. You apply some hyaluronic acid on a moisturizer, boom, you're gonna plump your skin up, because hyaluronic acid is that sugar that draws in water and helps hydrate the skin. Now, if you're using it with vitamin C, you can do that. You can do your cleanse, do your vitamin C, which is very labile, and then follow up with your hyaluronic acid, then your moisturizer and sunscreen. That's totally fine. So something you can consider in your late 30s and 40s, but it's not like a retinoid or vitamin C where you're gonna get long-term benefits from using it. It's just temporary, okay? You can also consider then increasing your retinoid. You can go for a higher percentage of retinol if it's over the counter, like Neutrogena is starting to disclose their retinol. There's also number 7 we talked about on the channel that goes up to 1% pure retinol, and SkinCeuticals has a 1% retinol. So those things you can look into for increasing the retinol game. If you want to increase completely to a retinaldehyde, we mentioned deuterium and Maylove, or you see a dermatologist and look into prescription options like tretinoin and tazarotene. Much more potent, but it can be more irritating. With the moisturizers being so important in your 40s because we start to get drier skin, it's important to get your moisturizer game up, getting really good nourishing moisturizers, and consider those with peptides now, because peptides are cell signalers and they will tell your skin to make more skin, thicker skin. So we've talked about this in another video, peptide moisturizers. So it could be Cetaphil and Neutrogena are affordable options with peptides in their moisturizers. Skin Fix as another option. I feel like 2025 is going to keep coming out with more peptides, but the one that has great science, I was able to look through the papers, is OneSkin. So their face supplement, they have a sunscreen, but they also have just a face moisturizer and a body moisturizer. So that's something you can consider to actually reverse the biological age of your skin, but you're paying for it. But I love that the PhDs that founded the company have sent me studies. I was able to look through the studies, and I like the products, and so I use their sunscreen and their moisturizers quite a bit. Should you consider a leave-on exfoliation? Yeah, you can consider that at this point to help exfoliate the skin. I prefer chemical peels, which is a much stronger punch of exfoliation, where we have stronger percentages of acids, glycolic acid, lactic acid, salicylic acid, which is a BHA. I like that a lot in our 30s and 40s. To help cause controlled micro trauma to our skin, to resurface and also hopefully reduce some collagen production. So I like chemical peels a lot at this age, but again, as our skin gets drier, we have to be careful. So in our 40s, I like to say we like to support and stimulate with peptides, increasing retinoids, but also finding good moisturizers that you like. Even with the peptides, it's nice as a 2-for-1. In our 50s, you want to think about repair and restore. And for women, I get this a lot, is as you go through perimenopause, that sudden drop in estrogen can take a toll on our skin. And women ask about estrogen containing creams, the estrogen creams, the estradiol creams. And my thoughts are that it could work. It hasn't been shown in studies to reverse photoaging, but can it help with wrinkles? Potentially, but if it's related to photoaging, it will not affect it. What I worry about is when you are involving hormones, can you induce melasma, which is a hyperpigmentation, chronic, usually a hyperpigmentation condition on the face. And there's a case report showing that melasma has resulted from estradiol cream use. So I worry about that, so just be careful. But there are ways that we can, you know, try to work on wrinkles in our 50s, and exactly it. Peptides, vitamin C, and keeping your sunscreen, yes, and retinoids. You can continue to talk to your dermatologist if your skin is able to handle it, going up to a prescription strength retinoid. They have studies that show that if you start your retinoids in your 50s and 60s, yes, the skin can still thicken. And that's really interesting, that it's almost never too late to start a retinoid, and especially a tretinoin, which is very potent. You can try your best to just use that pea-sized amount and get your skin used to it over time. It's possible. You can moisturize before and after. We call it the sandwich method, to try and tolerate a strong retinoid like tretinoin. So something to think about in your 50s and up. It's never too late to start a strong retinoid to help increase collagen production. So I feel like that would be a more sure way of going out your fine lines and wrinkles than estradiol or estrogen cream. I know there are dermatologists out there who swear by it and they have a lot of success with it, which is great, but I just worry about the rare cases of could it worsen melasma or induce melasma. That I worry about, whereas tretinoin will not do that. In your 50s and 60s, I'm gonna say not only using a retinoid, but paying attention to rich, nourishing cream, something that's thicker. You might have to increase your budget with your moisturizers at this age, but SkinCeuticals, their Lipid Restore, Skin Fix Lipid Restore, that's with peptides, or even Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream, which yes, higher price point, but I feel is so nourishing and hydrating with its squalane and glacial glycoproteins in it. You might want to go for a thicker moisturizer, especially if you're gonna bump your retinoid game up to tretinoin, prescription retinoid, okay? So consider that in your 50s and 60s. I forgot to mention eye serums starting in your late 30s and up. You can consider caffeinated eye serums if you're starting to worry about eye bags. And I haven't talked about eye serums a lot on the channel, but I typically say go for caffeinated options like L'Oreal Paris, the Revitalift Caffeine Plus HA serum with that stainless steel wand, that beaded wand. You can keep that whole product in your fridge and take it out, and with that cooling effect from the cold temperature plus the caffeine will help depuff the eyes. Other nice one that I like, higher price point though, is SkinCeuticals AGE eye cream. Nice product, but is a higher price point with caffeine. I like that one a lot. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you don't have access to your dermatologist, the next option for retinoids would be Skin Better Science. And that's a brand I've talked about on the channel. It is at a higher price point, but instead of hitting your skin with leave-on exfoliants at home, you could have an exfoliant already attached to your retinoid. And their Alpha Ret has alpha hydroxy acids paired with their retinoid. And so you're getting exfoliation from the alpha hydroxy acid plus the retinoid. Consider that one in your, I'd say 40s and up. You can definitely start it like I did in my early 30s and up. But if you have a bigger budget, you can consider that one, or see your dermatologist to talk about tretinoin. Those are my thoughts on how to kind of tweak your routine with age. Never overcomplicate things. You don't need that 12-step routine in any decade. Less is more many times, and always have a clear skincare goal in mind before you go out and shop. So I'll have some links down below on some of the products, and if you thought this was helpful, please subscribe to the channel. Please share with your friends who are into skincare. Thanks for tuning in every Saturday for new long form videos, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Take care. Peace.